Declutter Your Mind. How to stop worrying, relieve anxiety, and learn to control your thoughts. Introduction. Anxiety is defined as anxiety that is so powerful and excessive that it causes a person to be anxious about things about which they are unsure. Every situation will most likely cause them anxiety. Nothing is more stressful than being concerned about something you don't understand. When someone is anxious, they will have breathing difficulties, a rapid heart rate, and weariness that might persist for days. Anxiety is a typical occurrence that most people may encounter in their daily lives. When you are requested to speak to a large group of people, you are likely to feel nervous. The reason for this is that you may lack the confidence to face them, or you may not be ready to talk. There are also people who are concerned when they have to take a test. When individuals are unsure of how to handle a situation, they experience anxiety. When anxiety levels rise, it could be an indication of a larger problem that need the victim's attention. This is because if the issue is not addressed quickly, it could lead to significant consequences. As a result, it is vital to see a doctor if anxiety symptoms become too harmful. A doctor can establish the origin of anxiety and treat it before it becomes too serious. Understanding worry. Chapter 1. Everyone has worried at some point in their lives. Some people have a tendency to be chronic worriers. All anxiety, depression, and disorders are characterized by worry. Worry has the problem of requiring immediate attention, and in order to find a solution, you must first comprehend the problem. We've all had our share of worries, fears, and uncertainties. Many of us have been nervous and uncertain before speaking to a group of people, attending an interview, having surgery, or starting a new job. Perhaps you're now worried about an upcoming social gathering. When your boyfriend is late home, you're probably worried if everything goes according to plan. Your partner returns home, or the social event is postponed. The worry will fade away, but the days or weeks building up to it can be quite difficult. Perhaps you're afraid that something bad will happen to your children or that you'll lose your job. You may be concerned about occurrences that appear to be beyond your control, such as being attacked or never being able to own your home. Perhaps you are concerned about global warming or cancer. Whatever it is about which you are worried, it might affect both your mind and body. Worry might make you feel claustrophobic. It might be an irritating distraction, or leave you susceptible to the point where you can't think of anything else. Anxiety can undermine your self-esteem and confidence, harm your friendships and relationships, and impair your ability to work and study. If you suffer from severe anxiety for any cause, you may find it difficult to function in regular life. You may feel helpless and depleted of energy. After a while, you may begin to fear the signs of concern, which can lead to a vicious cycle. You may be nervous because you are afraid of the symptoms of anxiety, yet you will experience those symptoms as a result of your anxious sentiments. You suspect something is wrong or is about to happen, and you're not sure how or if you'll be able to deal. The anticipation of tragedy, adversity, or trouble is known as worry. If you've never experienced an event or situation before, you could be worried about what might happen or how you'll handle it. However, if you have been through a situation that was tough or unpleasant in any way, you may be concerned of encountering a similar situation in case it causes the same problems and difficulties. Is there a distinction to be made between uncertainty, concern, anxiety, and fear? There is, of course, but you must understand that the sentiments are extremely similar. These are emotions that influence how we feel, act, and think. They have the ability to motivate us to do or refrain from doing something. All feelings are intended to be positive. Feeling frightened and apprehensive about doing well on an exam or presenting a presentation, for example, can motivate you to study and stay focused. However, anxiety, like all other emotions, becomes a problem when it paralyzes you rather than making you respond in a useful way. If you're worried about an exam, your heart will race and negative thoughts will take over your head. Your capacity to concentrate, think clearly, and revise is harmed. It's not just what you think that can make you worried. Anxiety, like other emotions, is divided into three parts: thoughts, physical sensations, and behavior. Let's take a closer look at each of the following aspects. Natural environment. The physical changes that occur in your body are a part of worry. To put it another way, the internal physical changes you experience. The following are some of the most common physical indicators of anxiety. Rapid breathing might make you feel unsteady, lightheaded, and weak. Pins and needles in your toes and fingers may also be triggered. Stress in the jaw, headaches, chest tightness, and throat tightness are all symptoms of muscle tension. A surge of hormones that can cause hot flushes and excessive sweating. Visits to the restroom on a regular basis. Changes in your digestive system's blood supply, which might cause butterflies, sickness, and nausea. Worry can easily go untreated, especially if it manifests as a physical ailment. Stomach problems, for example, or an urgent need to use the restroom can always be a sign of anxiety about an upcoming occasion, but they may not be noticed. When we are worried, we all have distinct thoughts, yet we all have comparable physical responses. When we are anxious or terrified, our bodies produce hormones that spread throughout the body, regardless of our age, race, or gender. Adrenaline raises your heart rate and directs blood flow to the areas where it is needed. In a risky situation, the bodily changes allow your body to protect you by fleeing or fighting. This is referred to as the flight or fight response. This reaction is required to protect you from physical harm. When there are no physical hazards and you do not need to flee, the impact of adrenaline lessens, and you may get agitated for an extended period of time. Aspects of behavior. When you're worried, you do or don't do certain activities, which is known as the behavioral part of anxiety. Everyone behaves differently, just as every one of us has distinct opinions about a scenario. If you were nervous before an exam, for example, you may move up and down the room. Someone else, on the other hand, may be anxious and gnaw their nails. Another option could be chewing gum. What has triggered the feelings of anxiety? Our ability to manage the situation and how the current compares to our previous experiences all influence how we act when we are worried. Rather than responding by doing something, you might choose to do nothing. In the case of the exam, you might be able to avoid it by not taking use of the exam day. As a result, when you are worried, you will experience bodily, behavioral, and cognitive symptoms. Assume you were apprehensive about speaking in front of a group. Here's how you might feel when you're worried. Physical reaction. Increased heart rate, fast breathing, and stomach churning are all symptoms of a heart attack. Behavioral reaction. Biting your nails and playing with your pen. Response of the mind. I'll stammer and become illegible, and everyone will assume I'm not paying attention. There is no set order in which the above characteristics of anxiety appear, but any one of them can influence the others. How you feel, act, and think are all intertwined. An uncomfortable reaction to speaking in front of a group of people, for example, can begin with a physical reaction: increased pulse, quicker breathing, and hot flushes. This may cause you to toy with your pen or bite your nails as a behavioral response. Alternatively, you might begin to fidget with your pen and gnaw your nails. This could cause a bodily reaction. Your thoughts will then follow. Even so, your nervous thoughts may begin. Increased pulse, hot flushes, and stomach churning may result as a result of these thoughts. After that, You can start biting your nails and playing with your pen. Outline your own example of an event that you always feel apprehensive about to understand how the following interaction of feelings, ideas, and behaviors operate when you're worried. Aspects of the mind. The cognitive feature of concern includes your beliefs, perceptions, and interpretations of an imminent event. Different people may have different perspectives on the situation. In the case of taking an exam, for example, one person might be thinking, "I'm not sure if I can do this. It's possible that I'm hopeless. It is possible that I will fail." Another person, on the other hand, might be thinking, "What if I forget everything I've learned? What if they don't ask questions about the things I've revised?" You might wonder, overall, the thoughts and concerns you may have about how you'll feel or act once you're in that position are always included in your thoughts and concerns about that situation. You may say, "I'm going to have a heart attack and pass out. Go insane because you've lost control. Feel as if things are going too quickly for you to keep up, and that you will be cut off from your surroundings and the people in them. I want to flee and get out of this circumstance." You don't only think when you're scared. You know and believe that you are hopeless and that you will fail. Instead of accepting what might happen, you tend to assume that it will happen when anxiety takes control of your life. This is known as cognitive fusion. Your thoughts are a fact and a reality to you. Worry's self-sustaining property. It's easy to grasp how worry is interconnected and how it controls you once you recognize worry as thoughts, behavior, and physical experiences. You can see how anxiety can be self-sustaining as well. One property can provide food for another. For example, the more worried thoughts you have, the more physical symptoms you may experience. This may lead to you engaging in unhelpful behaviors, which in turn allows you to experience more anxiety. For example, you might be concerned about speaking in front of a large group. When you are asked to speak in front of a group, you become agitated and sick. Then you get worried about your worry showing and everyone finding out that you're worried. As a result, you do everything you can to avoid attending meetings. However, you are concerned that your boss believes you have little to give, and you believe you need to work harder in other areas of your career to demonstrate that you do. You'll find yourself caught in a worry cycle before you know it. In addition, if you are afraid of your anxiety and its symptoms, such as feelings, behaviors, and thoughts, you may develop new fears or uncover scenarios that cause anxiety. Is it a matter of nature or nurture? Do you learn to be anxious, or are you born with it? It's possible that some people are prone to anxiety and worry from birth. It's also possible that you weren't born anxious, but that you picked up on the emotion early on in life. Close relatives may have been worried and passed their worries on to you. After that, you learned how to respond in a similar manner. Anxiety can be caused by traumatic experiences in the past, such as bullying, abuse, or domestic violence. If parents do not address common childhood worries such as a dread of the dark or being left alone, the child may be more sensitive to worry later in life. If you had a lot of upheavals in your life as a child, such as your parents divorcing, getting ill, or someone you cared about becoming ill, you may have been unsure of what would happen next. This could make you more prone to anxiety. If you've had a traumatic experience in the past, whether as a child or an adult, and battled to manage your emotions, you might be concerned about the chance of similar scenarios recurring and triggering the same feelings. Some people can pinpoint a specific cause for their anxiety, such as a buildup of stress, or having gone through a traumatic life event like losing their job or having surgery. It could be a current situation, a series of occurrences, or a collection of events that you find stressful. Some folks, on the other hand, don't know why they're worried. Anxiety can be triggered by a single event or a series of occurrences. It's possible that you were born with a predisposition to anxiety, or that it's a result of your childhood and current events. It could be a mix of all of these elements. What is certain, though, is that when you're nervous, a number of forces are at work: physical sensations, thoughts, and behavior, and the forces that follow interact with one another. This knowledge can aid in the reduction of worry. It can help you comprehend the different aspects of anxiety, such as how and why you feel, think, and act the way you do when you're worried. In the next section, you'll learn more about what causes concern and how worry manifests itself in different ways. Worry's leading causes. Worry stems from a variety of sources, including past events. Thieves may have taken anything from you on the street. As a result, you will be cautious when strolling down the same street. You will constantly be insecure as a result of negative events in your life. Assuring oneself that such incidents will never occur is a good method to combat the mentality. Another factor could be a lack of self-esteem. You're convinced that no matter what you do, you'll fail. You adopt a pessimistic attitude and believe that if someone else did it, it would be better. This demonstrates that you are undermining yourself, which is negative, especially for people who are expected to succeed. To overcome the fear of failure, one must feel that they can succeed regardless of the circumstances. The economic and social factors of an individual's life might sometimes cause such a vice in their bodily system. If you come from a poor family, you are likely to encounter this mentality when dealing with wealthy men. You will be afraid that they will condemn and dislike you because of their higher status. The societal environment has an impact on this mindset because it is difficult to engage with people of higher status. Consider how you would react if the president paid you a visit. You will undoubtedly be perplexed. When someone has such a personality, your nature can betray you. Some people are normally perplexed or act in an erratic manner. They show an unreasonable fear of something that cannot be proven. Such nature can be determined from a person's genetic makeup. Additionally, if a person is a drug addict or suffers from mental illness, they are prone to displaying these emotions on a frequent basis. Types of concerns. You are constantly confronted with unexpected scenarios. For example, you can be afraid of putting your money in a particular investment in a business context. That is why every business investment is subjected to a risk assessment. In other words, this style of worrying can be approached from any direction. It makes a person reconsider their worrying tendencies and consider the steps that need to be taken. It's difficult to fight a battle without first learning about the conflict. As a result, one must comprehend the issues that cause someone to panic. Excessive concern and anxiety leads to a disorder that is known to your personality. This disorder is referred to as mentally related by psychologists. Some people are hesitant to participate in particular activities because they believe their conscience warns them of past failure. Simply said, possessing the mental unease of an object infers this attitude. To effectively recognize this illness, you must first understand its various qualities and types. There is the categorized and structured solvable anxiety. This demonstration demonstrates how to deduce the feelings caused and the object associated with it. In the mental picture, it is also regarded genuine, a quality that can be used to resolve solvable stress or anxiety is also present. Another sort of concern is structured sensation or worry. These feelings are difficult to describe, and it is impossible to comprehend their source or a specific topic of interest. Some of these examples include a person becoming naturally confused or experiencing personal disorders. You can inquire as to why a person is concerned, but that person will be unable to provide a clear explanation. Such circumstances necessitate a careful examination of one's sentiments in order to maintain effective control. Another type of anxiety condition that can be linked to your worryfulness is generalized anxiety disorder. You can't explain the true cause of that feeling in this regard. You feel physically jittery and mentally tense. Some people even see the sensation as a forewarning indicator of an impending ludicrous situation. When someone feels uneasy about anything, it's a warning that it's going to be a bad experience. Fatigue, irritability, and unclarified speed are among the most prevalent symptoms. Some people find it difficult to talk in front of a group of people when it comes to communicating with the public. They are people who have unreasonable fears. These people want to be alone because they are afraid of being judged or condemned by others. They frequently devalue themselves as well as their social standing. As a result, they are concerned about being embarrassed. Shyness is a term used to describe this personality trait. Working with shyness necessitates considerable practice speaking to people or interacting with them. Panic attacks have a very distressing nature to them. You've probably felt a rush of nervousness and terror when you've met anything at some point in your life. When they sense danger, some people claim to have this reaction. A personality disorder can be defined as panic attacks. It's such a strong and intense sensation that it's easy to mistake it for a heart attack. Rapid heartbeat, difficulty breathing, excessive sweating, chest pain, or even numbness in the body are some of the symptoms of the following disorder. Do you know anyone who is afraid of water or has a water phobia? If you've seen one, you're part of yet another group of frightened employees. They are, which explains why people have distinct phobias when confronted with an object. These feelings are analogous to an allergic reaction. Insects and other creatures terrify some people. As a result, they are concerned when they encounter them. Some of the symptoms of the phobias listed above include an inability to regulate excessive fear, resulting in difficulties doing ordinary duties. Post-traumatic disorders can occur in a variety of conditions. These are negative experiences in your life that have caused you sadness and anguish. When you have one of these conditions, it leaves a scar in your life that you are concerned about. Consider a lady who was once attacked at a specific location. Whenever she approaches close to that location, she feels extremely anxious. Negative thinking. Chapter 2. Do your ideas make you feel overwhelmed? Do you find yourself worried or stressed about the tasks you have to complete on a weekly basis? Have you tried to let go of your worries about life in general? From time to time, everyone has bad thoughts. However, if these ideas consistently overwhelm you, it's important to examine what you're thinking and how your thoughts affect your mental health. Positive thinking, according to science, can improve mental health, reduce stress, and even improve cardiovascular health. Your inner monologue is a part of your mental environment. It's constantly there, whether day or night, reminding you of the food you need to buy and making you anxious about current headlines, the state of the world, or the current environment. Some of your thoughts are meaningless and random. Many of your ideas, on the other hand, are negative and obtrusive. I feel terrible about what I said to my brother. For example, these thoughts, whether neutral, negative, or positive, can overwhelm your brains in the same way that having a lot of belongings can make your house dirty. Unfortunately, clearing your thinking is more difficult than decluttering your possessions. It's difficult to dismiss a thought and expect it to vanish. Your negative thoughts, in fact, have a way of reappearing as soon as you dismiss them. What causes us to have negative thoughts? Assume that your mind is a perfectly organized home. This is a home free of depleting and ineffective possessions that irritate you. Let's say you exclusively think about things that inspire, comfort, and uplift you. Consider your mind as a clear blue sky with no clouds, and you have complete control over what floats across it. If that cloudless mental sky is so fascinating, why do you spend so much time thinking, with so few filters to separate the pleasant and pertinent thoughts from the irrelevant and random? There are around 100 billion neurons in your brain, with another billion in your spinal cord. The overall number of synapses between neurons and cells required for processing has been estimated to be around 100 trillion. Our clever brains are continually processing and analyzing many types of experiences in the form of thoughts. Our perception of reality is shaped by our thoughts. We have the ability to influence and control our ideas, yet it always appears as if our thoughts have their own minds, determining how we feel. Thinking is vital for solving issues, making decisions, and planning. Yet the mind wanders like a wild monkey between productive mental activities, dragging you through the tangles of negativity. Your everyday inner dialogue keeps you from paying attention to what's going on around you right now. It causes you to lose out on essential experiences and detracts from the thrill of the present moment. Surprisingly, we believe we need to think more or work more to understand why we aren't as happy as we would like to be. We try to focus on the things, situations, and people that can help us feel better. The more we dwell on our misery, the more depressed we get. As we stare into the future, our thoughts make us feel restless, irritated, and empty. Almost every bad idea you have is linked to the past or the future, even if you're trying to escape the never-ending tape playing in your head. It's typical to find yourself stuck in a loop of regretful or worrisome thoughts. You struggle not only with your ideas, but also with your incapacity to be rid of them. The more negative thoughts you have, the worse you will become. It's almost as though you're two people, the thinker and the judge, the person who is thinking the ideas as well as the person who is aware of your thoughts and judging how horrible they sound. This kind of thinking causes us to experience unpleasant emotions. We feel more miserable and angry the more guilt-ridden and regretful thoughts we have. Our thoughts can sometimes paralyze us with negative emotions, and it is these emotions that rob us of inner serenity and tranquility. While our thoughts are the source of much misery, we feel there isn't much we can do about it. Isn't it tough to keep your mind from thinking? You can't turn your brain off or get rid of the mental clutter and associated sentiments that keep you from completely enjoying life. We frequently have periods of mental serenity and stillness. However, we try to quiet our minds by self-medicating with excessive amounts of alcohol, drugs, exercise, and food. These are, however, only temporary noise filtering and pain-relieving measures. Our thoughts return after a while, and the cycle continues. So, do we have to fight our ideas all the time? Or do we have to let them pull us down with fear, anxiety, and regret? Is it possible to have a mind that is free of suffering and negativity? You may not be able to maintain your mental house clean all of the time, but you may influence your ideas in such a manner that it improves the quality of your life and overall happiness. While thinking may appear to be uncontrollable and automatic, the majority of our thought patterns are routine and regular. While your ideas may appear to be inextricably linked, you do have a conscious self that can control them. You have more power over your ideas than you might believe. When you learn to control your ideas, you open the door to a world of creativity, genius, and inspiration that lies beneath the mess of unruly thinking. You can disempower your ideas and make more room in your mind to feel inner happiness and calm through various mindfulness techniques and practical habits. The advantages of living a positive life. Positive thinkers are far better at dealing with stress. Have you ever been at work and received notification that your employer wishes to meet with you, only to spend the rest of the day worrying about what the meeting might entail? Perhaps you made a mistake somewhere. Perhaps you've done some heinous things that you've forgotten about. Perhaps a slanderous report about you has gone viral, and you're expected to defend yourself. So, in the hours leading up to the meeting, you go over every possible reason for the meeting's failure. Your thoughts are hazy. You've become enslaved by your own anxiety. The meeting eventually arrives, and you realize you've forgotten to bring some documentation because the stress you felt during the day was irrelevant. a significant portion of your precious emotional energy was lost. The majority of our daily tension is self-created, as shown in the following example. According to research, stress is created by our ideas about an event, not by the event itself. In other words, regardless of what happens in life, you have the ability to take control of your emotions. Pessimists frequently approach everyday life events believing that they have made a mistake. Many individuals believe that the only reason a manager would ever call us is if we've made a mistake. Like in the preceding case, this way of thinking not only adds to our stress levels, but it also limits our opportunities and friendships, as well as affecting our ability to manage stress in the long run. Optimists, on the other hand, do not adopt a sentiment based on a circumstance until all of the data necessary to objectively assess it are available. This isn't to say that the optimist believes something extraordinary will happen at the meeting. They aren't sitting around counting down the minutes till their office time, hoping to win a bigger prize. They're simply not making any assumptions in the event that the experience is unpleasant. The positive person gains from the fact that they haven't been thinking over every option and conjuring up 1,000,001 negative scenarios in their heads. This makes individuals more prepared to manage the outcome of the experience, less inclined to overreact to pent-up emotion, and more capable of resolving any problems that arise. As a result, optimistic people are problem solvers who rely on problem-solving skills rather than venting about the issue at hand. Know that you have a choice in where you focus your energy starting today. Remember that maintaining a cheerful attitude will help you avoid or even reduce the majority of your everyday stress. Optimists not only generate less stressful situations, but they also experience less stress than pessimists. According to research, as your outlook improves, you will be able to let go of unfavorable experiences more readily. This keeps stressful circumstances from getting worse and overwhelming. You'll also be able to build a stronger support system now that you've stopped assuming the worst in every situation. When tough events arise, you should be able to reach out to your friends and rely on their assistance. You will have better relationships and less stress if you begin to notice the positive aspects of life. As a result, you'll be able to let rid of some of your needless possessions. I'm sure you agree that the world could use a few more people who don't bring their baggage with them. It's important to think positively for your health. Negative thinking, according to the Mayo Clinic, can awaken your need for medical attention as well as increase your risk of heart disease. 3 research on how optimism affects health are shown below to demonstrate how powerful positive thinking and habits may influence your health. Students at the University of Missouri completed positive journaling 3 times a week as part of a study. After 3 months, the students reported better moods and fewer visits to the health center than those who did not write. Natural killer cells, a type of white blood cell that can attack tumor cells, were found to be lower among post-operative breast cancer patients who lived a good life, according to a study conducted by Indiana University. These cells are required for long-term healing, implying that post-operative patients with a strong immune system can benefit from a happy lifestyle. For 25 years, Johns Hopkins University researchers followed a group of adults with a family history of heart disease. Over the course of the study, those who had a healthy lifestyle had a 1/3 lower risk of heart attack. These are just a few of the hundreds of studies that link a positive attitude to better long-term health. The primary takeaway is that optimists had less discomfort, better cardiac function, a longer lifespan, and a stronger immune system than pessimists. It's important to highlight that being a happy person doesn't mean you're preoccupied with maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Indeed, choosing to live on the sunny side of the street will lead to healthier lifestyle choices. Chapter 3. Emotional stress. Emotional stress can be challenging and painful to handle than other types of stress. Discussing a solution or thinking about a solution can easily extend into rumination and co-rumination. which are not important and effective in solving problems. Rumination is dangerous because it can increase your stress levels, so it's important to have a healthy method for handling emotional stress and diverting yourself from rumination and avoidance coping and inclining towards emotionally proactive methods to stress management. What causes emotional stress? Relationship stress carries a large percentage on our emotional lives and develops strong emotional responses because our relationships can highly affect our lives for better or for worse. Healthy relationships can trigger good moments, as well as act as resources in times of trouble. However, bad relationships full of conflicts can make us worse off in our emotional lives and even affect us physically. Relationships are not the only major cause of emotional stress. Unpleasant work environment, financial crises, or a host of other stressors can activate emotional stress, which sometimes attracts us toward unhealthy coping behaviors to escape the pain, especially when the circumstances appear hopeless. Probably one of the more challenging parts of dealing with emotional stress is the feeling of being unable to change the situation. If we cannot regulate our stress levels by removing the stressful situation, we can work on our emotional response to it. Stress management. While you may think like there's nothing you can do to control stress at home and work, there are steps that you can follow to relieve the pressure and regain control. Stress management entails taking charge of your thoughts, emotions, lifestyle, and the way you handle problems, regardless of how stressful your life appears. There are steps you can take to relieve pressure and recover. Dealing with emotional stress, luckily, while it's hard to correct these situations overnight, you can relieve the emotional stress you experience and the damage this stress causes to you. Below are some exercises you can try to effectively handle emotional stress. 1. Distract yourself. Most people believe that if you don't show every emotion you feel, the emotion will reveal itself in a different way. In one way, this is true. There are advantages to confirming our emotional states to discover what our emotions are trying to inform us. And in unhealthy ways, this can generate other problems. However, research has shown that distracting yourself from emotional pain with emotional healthy ways can reduce emotional pain and allow us to feel better. 2. Practice meditation. Meditation is key for handling different stressors. And emotional stress is one of the categories of stressors that meditation helps. It enables you to take a break from rumination by actively redirecting your thoughts. 3. Practice mindfulness. When you suffer from emotional stress, you experience physical pain, a strong feeling in your chest, a dull headache, an unsettled feeling in the stomach. It's usual to escape these feelings, but it can be necessary to get deeper into the experience and apply mindfulness to discover where these emotional responses are physically felt. Some people report that pain is always intense before they practice mindfulness. 4. Schedule some time if you realize that emotional stress and rumination interfere with your awareness and distraction doesn't work. Try to schedule some time where you can allow yourself to reflect on the situation fully and discover solutions. Journaling is a powerful method to try. Talk to your friends concerning the problem if you'd like. Fully immerse yourself and then adopt healthy distractions. This method works well for 2 reasons. If you really want to obsess, this helps you satisfy that craving in a short-term plan. You might find yourself feeling more relaxed the entire day because you understand that there will be a time to concentrate on your emotional situation. 5. Speak to a therapist if you discover your level of emotional stress distracting your daily activities or threatening your general well-being. You might consider seeing a therapist for help working through emotional problems. 6. Think clearly. Adopt cognitive behavioral therapy practices. This one stresses clear thinking, taking action, and balanced feelings. 7. Be open. Remain open to your experiences, whether negative or positive. Don't block them. It is the continual link with unresolved problems that generate the unhelpful thoughts and feelings that affect you over time. You will discover shifts in your response. This is the path to inner peace. You concentrate on what is relevant to you. Keep in touch with the things that engage your attention and allow you to regain your stability. 8. Step back. Take a step back from the distressing situation. Keep in mind that this is not easy because thoughts trigger reactions within us, whether critical reactions and emotional reactions. Some methods you can apply to step back include picking cue cards to read important ideas to yourself. Practice breathing exercises like paying attention to the rise and fall of the diaphragm and breathing to steady yourself. Establishing space that reduces your immediate reactions and allows you to concentrate on what you're doing at that time rather than feeling overwhelmed. This space allows you to process distressing thoughts. 9. Pause and self-soothe. Even a small break connects you back to longer periods when you've had more time to take a broader perspective. You begin to discover things like how worry feelings cause tension in certain parts of your body. How long do they last? Do they shift over time or stay the same? Can you reduce that effect by changing your attention to the present moment or breathing into the tension or blockage to develop a separate response like more space or even a healing response? Self-soothing is a great skill to learn. 10. Accept all thoughts that come into your mind. Intrusive negative thoughts and emotions are both a part of everyday experience and a feature of depression and worry. They tend to creep in and out in normal experience, but are more disturbing when your mood is low. The answer is to accept all thoughts that constantly creep your mind. Alternatively, you can learn to slow down your mind and body to allow healing from within.